Greetings, user 4593. It's me again, the one who'll guide you through this novel world of frightening gaming secrets and mysteries. This is broadcast number 1251334, and today we'll dive into an iconic universe that shook the whole world. Gather your thoughts and don't lose your temper. Whatever happens, we're going to Silent Hill. This crazy, mind-bending universe, based in a fictional American city of the same name, was first presented to the public way back in 1999 as a result of the sick imagination of Japanese developers, Team Silent. In this mysterious place, you get to know the main character of the first, deep, intricate, and very personal chapter, Harry Mason. He's a 32-year-old writer and widower who goes to the resort town of Silent Hill to spend time with his adopted daughter, Cheryl. As he gets into the city, he notices the silhouette of a girl on the road, so he swerves out of the way to avoid tragedy. But then, waking up after the car accident, Harry notices that his daughter is no longer there. He has no choice but to face the unknown in his search for the missing Cheryl.
Cheryl? Is that Cheryl? Where are you going? Hey, wait! Stop!
The foggy, mysterious city and its unseasonably snow-covered streets eagerly accept this lonesome stranger, crushing him down with a series of trials, horrors, and mysteries. And the only thing that you have the power to do is to help the lonely father go through this hell, not to lose his mind.
Daddy, help me. Steve, where are you?
Silent Hill, Maine. It sucks in all the misguided souls like a swamp. The city that operates under its own laws and dictates rules that aren't always clear. Otherworldly, misty, and frightening. A ghost town, a shadow of a tragic story, a place with an oppressive atmosphere that fascinates us with its mystery. Its empty streets and abandoned buildings hide so much more.
What's that? This is not a dream. What's happening to this place?
The Silent Hill universe is distorted by the otherworld forces. This small city exists in 3 dimensions. A real city with a normal life and population, and you can't see it. But not because it's not there. It's just you're part of the other dimensions and only occasionally come in contact with reality.
Take this, and hope you don't have to use it. Now listen to me. Before you pull the trigger, know who you're shooting. And don't do it unless you have to.
The fog world is captivating in its silence. Deserted streets, abandoned houses, blackouts, and lack of water. And your lonely silhouette, like a shadow, wandering through the impenetrable void. But the depressing, snowy tranquility is broken when you are overcome by the Silent Hill's other world, making its way through tears in space-time. The industrial landscapes of the distorted world of Alessa Gillespie, the same girl who made Mason crash his car, are swarming with girders, fences, pipelines, turbines, and smokestacks. Immersed in total darkness, the other world is the epitome of inner torment due to anxiety and fear. Puddles of blood, dismembered corpses, and horrible creatures. It's the integral part of the girl's terrifying inner world that made the city go through this frightening metamorphosis.
Daddy, help me. Daddy, where are you?
Cheryl!
This resort town, throughout its whole history, has suffered many tragedies. Silent Hill, among other things, went through mysterious epidemics, mass kidnappings, and extensive drug trafficking. But one of the most pivotal parts of its history was the formation of a mystical community known as the Order. This religious organization has rejected a belief in right and wrong, only adhering to law and order. Members of the Order believe that human society has been destroyed and the responsibility for creation of the new world lies upon them. Attendees of this church worship creatures of the other world reality of Silent Hill. They think that these abominations are the incarnation of God, who they see and interpret in the form of a woman. This aggressive religious community will become a source of real trouble in your way. Throughout its existence, the Order has been repeatedly kidnapping, torturing, and killing people, along with other acts of violence, just for the sake of their own benefit. And you already know that there is nothing more frightening than fanatical people ready to do anything for the sake of their own beliefs.
Here, the Flauros, a cage of peace. It can break through the walls of darkness and counteract the wrath of the underworld. These will help you.
The main purpose of the Order is to survive the apocalypse and ascend into heaven among the gods' chosen ones, but their ceremonies and obviously magical abilities contradict any logic. Many rituals and sacraments of the Order are supernatural, and many members of the cult are endowed with the power to manipulate beings from other dimensions.
No! Get away from me!
Bad girl. Everything's ready. Let's go home.
What's going on here?
Yes, the otherworld dimension is the birthplace for all the horrifying creatures, which are not only fascinating to look at, but also symbolize Alessa's inner turmoil, becoming the ghosts of her past and her present. In the central areas and resort zone of Silent Hill, you'll meet creatures with the body of a dog and a head covered in worms. These monsters embody Alessa's fear of dogs, as well as symbolize her fear of worms and snakes. A gray baby monster armed with a knife and resembling a child lives in the alleyways and schools of the underworld. Alessa's distorted perception of her classmates, bullying and taunting her, has made them miserable dwarves without skin and with distorted faces, laughing mercilessly before each attack. While exploring the sewers of Silent Hill, you'll find green creatures that look like reptiles. The claws of their forelimbs make a distinct sound, so if you hear their movement in the dark, beware. The sewer creatures embody the fear of insects like grasshoppers or crickets. The Romper is a manifestation of Alessa Gillespie's fear of adults and her dislike of people older than herself. These ape-like creatures hop from place to place, dealing devastating blows or jumping on their prey, demonstrating their strength and superiority. And don't forget about the puppet doctors, which manifest Alessa's hatred towards doctors surrounding her in the hospital, as well as her suspicion that the entire hospital is controlled by the cult who manipulate the personnel like puppets. You are immersed headfirst into the mysterious and terrifying world of Silent Hill. It makes you numb, as if you're paralyzed, like animal fear not letting go for even a second. And that's not just because of the visuals, creepy places, and nightmarish creatures, as a considerable share of the atmosphere has been created by the composer, Akira Yamaoka. He's a man whose sick imagination and infinite talent filled this ghost town with the most memorable music cues and sounds that can rattle even the most unbreakable nerves. Indeed, thanks to Yamaoka, your suffering is heard in harmony with gloomy melancholy, despair, obsession, and loneliness. He conducts your raw emotions, weaving visual horror and sound together so you can experience the most complete range of feelings. In all the years of its existence, the Silent Hill universe made a mark on many people's lives who had a chance to visit this frightening place. I doubt anyone at the moment can create something as equally terrible and beautiful. It's surprising how deep and versatile it is. A world capable of leaving a very deep impression on your psyche. You'll no longer be able to peacefully glance at the mirror at night, because who knows? Maybe you're actually in a different reality than the one you're familiar with. Maybe you are finally grasping the loneliness, hopelessness, and futility of your existence. Maybe. Soon, we'll try to go through other chapters of this iconic story and return to that quiet town near the lake where many secrets remain hidden. This ends broadcast number 1/2/5/1334. See you next time, user. 593. It's me again, the one who'll guide you through this novel world of frightening gaming secrets and mysteries. This is broadcast number 1251334, and we continue our journey to the legendary universe of Silent Hill. But this time, we'll visit the city with entirely different people and under different circumstances. Let's open the second chapter of this mysterious saga. James Sunderland arrives in Silent Hill after receiving a letter from his wife, Mary. In this letter, Mary invites him to visit her in the resort town, where she'll be waiting for him in their special place. At first glance, there is nothing strange, but James' wife died 3 years ago. So in a desperate attempt to find Mary and see her one last time, our hero goes through the abandoned town, shrouded in mist.
What the?
Other than where it takes place, the journey of James Sunderland has very little to do with the story of Harry Mason, the hero of the first chapter in this terrifying saga. Returning to Silent Hill, we don't come across any familiar locations, because now we're looking at the southern part of the city, across the lake.
Is it dead? What the hell is it?
Yes, this time, Silent Hill changed its rules. It lies before us, not just the story of the people, but also the city. It's become heaven for those who've dedicated their lives to horrible things. The city calling all the lost souls and then punishing them. Now, we aren't just immersed in the damaged inner world of Alessa Gillespie. Now, everything is more personal. Everyone sees Silent Hill in their own way, and each undergoes different changes. James Sunderland is no exception. The city streets are still veiled in mist, and the houses and buildings have been abandoned for a long time. This place absorbs what everyone hides somewhere deep in their hearts: anxiety, guilt, fear, and misconceptions. All of it is materialized by the otherworld energy, so that's why everyone creates their own parallel universe. Our hero doesn't confront any industrial worlds of the first chapter, covered in blood and dismembered corpses, but much more depressing, lifeless, and oppressive environment. Water drips from the ceilings, there are rotten walls, and the floors covered with mud and fungus. James seems buried in his grief, despair, and hopelessness, and you're there with him. Sooner or later, you meet up with other prisoners of the mystical city, who also have arrived in Silent Hill for one reason or another. They, just like James, are surrounded by their own reality, which is projected from their own mutilated inner worlds. On your way to town, you meet Angela Orozco, a homeless 19-year-old girl that runs from police after stabbing her father and brother with a kitchen knife. She was facing severe emotional shock and felt the call of Silent Hill to search for her mother. She suffers from insomnia, PTSD, low self-esteem, and suicidal tendencies. Detachment depression and obsession pursue her. Her mental instabilities are attributed to a rough childhood. Her father beat her and sexually abused her, humiliating her. Angela's brother also abused her. The girl's mother saw it all, but claimed she deserved it and should be humbled. In the parallel dimension, we see her torment and agony. The walls are covered in flesh, and we can see a variety of sexual illusions all over the place. The consequences of trauma. She doesn't trust anyone and sees men as animals that are driven by sexual interests. Her quintessential nightmare is a monster against whom she fights, the abstract daddy. It appears as two entangled figures on a bed, completely covered with a blanket of skin. It's the incarnation of Angela's sexual trauma, something that has already tormented her for years. Another prisoner of Silent Hill, locked in his own fears and mistakes, a victim of his own shortcomings, Eddie Dombrowski.
Killing a person ain't no big deal. Just put the gun to their head.
An extremely insecure young man who's been abused for a lifetime, humiliated, called names. And one of his attackers didn't stop even after school. At some point, Eddie lost control, found his father's gun, and killed his bully's dog before shooting the bully himself in the knee. Eddie went on the run and felt drawn to Silent Hill, much like Angela. He, like the rest of the city inhabitants, arrived in their own version of reality, where the main character sees a variety of monsters and strange creatures.
Do you know what it does to you, James?
And these creatures are likely to take the form of his wrongdoers, bullies that he addressed with these words: "I like to kill these monsters."
From now on, if anyone makes fun of me, I'll kill him! Just like that.
The world of James Sunderland is also visited by monsters, but not by monsters of another dimension. Rather, we're pursuing the inner demons of our main character, everything that doesn't let him sleep. His fears, vices, inner turmoil, and projections of the dark side of his subconscious that materialize into reality. Mannequins. Effeminate creations devoid of upper body, and instead they have a second pair of legs without feet to attack James. Many interpret this as a manifestation of his sexual frustration and dissatisfaction which he suffered during his wife's illness. Unlike the other monsters, the mannequins only react to a nearby flashlight, otherwise standing as motionless as a statue. While not the strongest of opponents, mannequins deceive you, merging with the surroundings and making sudden attacks. One of the most recognizable images that gave rise to Silent Hill was that of the nurses, a faceless female figure erratically moving about as if having a seizure. Provocative clothes, distorted faces wrapped in rags, and weapons in hand. The nurses combined the fear of Mary's deadly disease with the sexual detachment that followed it. These creatures are most often found in groups and try to surround you. Another being vaguely reminiscent of the female figure is the Mandarin. Distorted face and body, legs dangling helplessly, and giant hands and lips, a creation that represents James' pain and helplessness. That's why they hang on their huge hands and try to attack you from beneath the floor because of their inability to stand on the surface. Avoiding contact with them is not difficult. You can always run past them without wasting any of your ammunition. As you can see, all of these creatures have their own origin at the psychological level, rooted in the mind of James, and each image stays in your memory forever. But there is one creature that's become the real symbol of Silent Hill, the Lord of the Underworld, living by its own rules, and its epicness has long led it outside the universe of the abandoned Misty City, making it one of the most famous monsters in history. And of course, I'm talking about the Pyramid Head. It's a male figure with a huge butcher knife and a red, pyramid-shaped iron hood fully covering the face. Your personal executioner, the ghost of your guilt, haunting you, following your steps, and carrying the instrument of your execution. Yes, it represents punishment. The red pyramid on the monster's head alludes to the hood worn by executioners while carrying out the sentence. And with the inevitable comes an awareness of the harshest reality. The guilt that haunts James and leads him to Silent Hill is connected to something terrible, the memory of which he tries to bury somewhere deep in an attempt to escape from its oppressive reality. Mary, the wife of James who died from a deadly disease, was actually strangled by her husband with a pillow in her own bed. The city corrupted the dark side of our hero and decided that James will have to answer for his actions, admit his guilt, and accept the consequences. The executioner pursues James as if trying to make him recall what he'd done, and the manner in which Pyramid Head tries to find James suggests that he's blind. Perhaps it's an allusion to the fact that James is blind to the truth. The Pyramid Head will also brutally kill your companions, like Maria. Maria was a projection of James' wife Mary, and although not all that similar in appearance, she shares some common memories and embodied all of her traits.
Mary?
The Pyramid Head gets rid of Maria in front of him to remind him what it was that led him to Silent Hill, from what he's trying to escape. And that's when Sunderland confesses his crime and accepts the harsh reality. So the Pyramid Head let him alone to fulfill his destiny. And in the end, James isn't that much different from other visitors of Silent Hill. It was a result of his guilt and futile attempts to escape from reality, just like Angela or Eddie. Monsters surrounding James are projections in his mind, mired in frustration and obsession. And And who knows how many souls will end up absorbed into this mysterious city. As for you, user, I can advise only one thing. Never try to run from the truth, because at some point, it will catch up with you. Each one of us lives with our own demons, and who knows which one of them you'll see when Silent Hill calls you. This was broadcast number 1251334. See you next time, user. Greetings, user 4593. It's me again, the one who'll guide you through this novel world of frightening gaming secrets and mysteries. Closed space, helplessness, vulnerability, constant anxiety, fear, and desperation. On the 12th of August 2014, every single PS4 user became an object of this psychological experiment, a mysterious demo, PT. The community responded with an explosion when everybody drowned in this haunting world, playing on the thinnest strings of fear. Everything starts in a small abandoned room. Claustrophobic emptiness thickens the air. You can almost touch it. You open the door and find yourself in a dark hallway. Dim lighting, old photographs, the remainings of the past. All that's left, the shadow of something good, something that has suddenly stopped, with only a few clues remaining. Your only guide is an old transistor radio and a broadcaster reporting on a horrifying mass murder committed by a father who violently killed his entire family in cold blood and then committed suicide.
The stomach was pregnant at the time. Police arriving on scene after neighbors called 911 found the father in his car listening to the radio.
There is a door at the end, and when you open it, you find yourself at the beginning of the same hallway, which is now like a loop. It's still 1:12 on the clock. Same pictures, same radio noises, same bathroom. You're just like a lost soul struggling to find your way out of this nightmarish limbo, repeating the same pattern over and over.
Several days before the murder, look behind you. I said, look behind you, as you're sensing some strange spell.
But there's one thing. Each time you walk through that door, there is a change. The hallway evolves and distorts during this odd metamorphosis. Sometimes the change is very subtle, sometimes not so much. stomach and deadly smile. Judging by the radio report, the wife was pregnant and was shot in the abdomen. Lisa appears several times in a very twisted and terrifying way. Sometimes she tries to possess your mind, so don't be surprised if you hear steps and heavy breathing behind your back. Just don't turn around. After each attack, she brings you back to the same room. There are scratches on the wall, a small hint of how long have you been stuck in this dimensional prison. And she's always there, stalking you in the hallway. Why is she there? Maybe she's stuck in that limbo just like you. Or maybe she's there for revenge. The absence of her second eye and a damaged family picture with "gouge it out" written on it. Probably it's a metaphor of retribution. Eye for an eye. But we'll never know. And the closer you get to solving the mystery, the more apparent Lisa's presence becomes. Why is it all about you? The answer probably lies within the details. The endless hallway feels like somebody's personal nightmare. A limbo, the place with no beginning and no end, destined to become somebody's personal nightmare. Sounds pretty familiar, especially to those ones who went to Silent Hill. Dimensions that hide our personal fears, delusions, and prejudices. The main instrument of punishment in Silent Hill. It could be possible that the horrifying metamorphosis of the dimensional loop you're imprisoned in is the awakening of another world that gradually distorts reality more and more. Setting as well as your perception drastically changes. The pattern of the hallway gets odder, just like everything that surrounds you. The only time gap for you to break out opens up when you hear a child laugh 3 times. You pick up the phone and hear a strange voice.
You've been chosen.
Mystery is the most important thing about the hallway loop. Sometimes the clues to solving that very mystery are pretty obvious, but sometimes they're so subtle you have to dig deeper to find out what they really mean.
Gathered at home on a Sunday afternoon. Don't touch that dial now. Just getting started. Retrieve the rifle.
The radio messages you hear going through the loop are full of details pretty unusual for your typical news broadcast. It could be possible that the person behind the microphone is you, or some other you. One more thing that supports the multidimensional theory is the strange paper bag on the table.
Watch out. The gap in the door. It's a separate reality. The only me is me. Are you sure the only you is you?
The radio broadcast reveals that several days before the accident, the man began to repeat a strange sequence of numbers. According to neighbors, the sequence sounded like some kind of spell. a spell that finds its way into our own reality by interrupting the radio report.
The mother, who was shot in the stomach, 204863. Seen after neighbors called
204863. 204863.
The broadcaster's voice is creepy by itself, but when you unveil the secret of that nonsense he sometimes delivers, things get a whole lot stranger.
Central development center issue. Pilot was not here at the moment. I drove to see no blue cells to call up. You know, girl. We share an instant of private darkness. In the moment our hands overlapped, I walked till I stood one pace before Jack. Heart pounding.
And one more thing. The messages on the walls. Sometimes they're there, but sometimes they're not.
Now's the time. Do it.
Parallel universes, several dimensions, something that we've been trying to understand for many years. The most horrifying thing about it is that we don't know how many times it's already branched off. Will these dimensions ever converge? And what terrible things could our projections be capable of? Maybe it's just our imagination, a desperate attempt to explain something that we don't understand. Or maybe these parallel universes really exist. Odd, twisted, terrifying. It's all up to you to decide. And as always, broadcast number 1251334 out. See you next time. Greetings, user 4593. It's me again, the one who'll guide you through this novel world of frightening gaming secrets. And mysteries. This is broadcast number 1251334. And today, we turn Before you and I reach number 20, I propose that we reminisce about all that we've come in contact with. The most vivid, frightening, and fascinating moments of the terror we've left behind. Because without the past, there is no future. Don't forget that.
into rivers and lakes.
Are you sometimes afraid of things you shouldn't be scared of? What if I tell you that games can cause real, animalistic fear? The games sometimes become the reason for terrible things. Are you ready to plunge into an atmosphere of anxiety and fear? Are you ready to unveil the mysteries of this world? Are you ready to see what's hidden in the depths? If the answer is yes, I've got something for you.